or visit ridenowbeachboulevard.com. ATVs and UTVs are for riders 16 and older. They can be hazardous to operate. CF Moto recommends an improved safety training course.
I'm Max Fink with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update brought to you by Purple Heart Pools. Last night, Prairie View A&M defeated Lehigh 67-55 to gain possession of the final 16 seed in the bracket and will now take on the SEC regular season champion Florida Gators at 9:25 on Friday night, airing live on 1010 AM and the 1010XL app. It's 62 degrees at 2 o'clock time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still, present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch. Now, Lauren Brooks, Taylor Dahl, and Tom McManus. This is
Helmets and Heels.
Helmets and Heels on 1010XL.
Tom is still on vacation. He'll be back with us next week. Did I see that he did a podcast live from the Caribbean?
He did. He might have been feeling a little good during the podcast.
Well, that shouldn't surprise anyone.
Work never stops. And
That's right.
yeah, I was texting him a little bit because I was trying to make sure I had everybody's brackets and everything that we do, our 1010 bracket challenge. And so he was like, can I email it to you? How do I get it? And we were going back and forth. And I was like, hope you're having fun. We haven't gotten any new videos. So like, hopefully everything's going well. He's like, oh, I've just been drinking on a boat for days. We're good. And I'm like, sounds great to me.
Yeah, that is the way to do it for sure, especially when you're with good friends like he is. So one of the greatest things to me about March Madness, Taylor, and this doesn't affect people like you and me whose job it is to watch the tournament, or certainly part of our job, but the boss button. When you go to watch March Madness on your computer, there is a boss button. And that way, if you are watching and you're not supposed to be at work, you just immediately click that boss button,
everything down.
and your boss will have no idea that you were just watching the tournament.
Yeah, that is, it's great for other people because I know a lot of people who have jobs who they have to kind of secretly have it up on their phones or things like that. For us, we can just have it on in our big screen on in our office, and it's not a big deal. But
yeah, we're encouraged to watch college basketball. That's the
they're
beautiful
like,
part.
watch this, you have to talk about it. And I had a friend text me today and was like, I took a half day today, so I just have to make it until 1 o'clock. But I'm watching it on my phone. But that's not as fun when you're having to like watch tiny games on your phone.
Tiny games. I really don't mind watching stuff on my phone when it is the only option.
Yeah.
Obviously,
I mean, we're lucky. You didn't always have that option.
100%. I can remember, I've told the story many a time. Back when Georgia had a few different quarterbacks as far as options, they were talking on the spring football broadcast about one of the backup quarterbacks. And I learned then and there, like, okay, if Jacob Eason goes down, then this guy can come in and end up starting. And I was watching it on the beach.
Yeah.
Right? Like, wow. And they were talking about, of course, now I'm blanking on his name, Jake somebody. And I'll look it up in a second. But either way, and so they were talking about how smart he is, like his football IQ. And I was like, I get to learn this sitting on the beach watching the spring game on my phone. Like, that is incredible. Nowadays, we don't really have the options of spring games as far as the broadcast go, but that's okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of memories for me of being, whether it's just being on my phone, having to watch it now on planes and stuff like that. We talked about coming back from okay.
Yeah. I knew I had it on the tip of my tongue.
Yeah, coming back from Vegas, you and I were both watching games on the plane when it comes to college football, obviously. And I have a lot of moments where specifically remember this game. And for whatever reason, whether it was, I was a wedding, I've watched them at weddings.
Oh, absolutely.
I've watched them at other games. Like I'm at a game, but some important game is on. So I have it on my phone. And that way, like I've been at Iceman games, watching Cubs games and, things like that. And so we do live in a world where it's very easy but it is nice to have your 50-inch TV watching the game. And now you can have like the quad, so people will watch multiple games at multiple times. Right now I put, we have 4 games going on our TV and here at one time. And that's just not options you had not too long ago, honestly.
For sure. And I heard you mention to the boys on Crosstalk of Primetime that you have USF. So is that your team when it comes to, like, if you had to pick a team for this year's tournament, would that be your team?
I guess, because that's the only one I have like any link to. When Notre Dame's not in it, obviously that Notre Dame would, if Notre Dame was in the tournament, it would be them first. But I went to USF, but I also didn't go to the main campus. I went to the Sarasota campus, so I didn't get the full go to basketball games and do all of that experience because I started here. I went to FSCJ for my first 2, then went to my second 2, and by that I was just trying to get my degree and be done. And I went to the Sarasota campus because I still wanted to be like closer to the beach. So I lived in Bradenton, Sarasota area. But so I didn't get that full like, oh, let's go to a college basketball game experience, which sometimes I wish I did go to the main campus so I had that. But just because, I mean, I graduated from there. So I'll root for USF whenever I have the chance to.
Unfortunately, though, the Bulls are down 24-11 to Louisville. And I think a lot of people had that as a sneaky upset pick. South Florida beating Louisville.
I saw that was like the third highest picked upset of the tournament.
Yes. Well, so far, USF is not doing its part, not holding up its end of the bargain, but we'll keep you updated on that. And then that TCU-Ohio State game is really interesting. TCU is out to a double-digit lead, and then Ohio State now is up by 2, 57-55, with about 4 minutes left to play in that one. So we'll certainly keep an eye on that. And then Nebraska is leading Troy 47-32. They've had a pretty comfy lead for most of this game. And if Nebraska wins, this would be the Cornhuskers, as you know, first win ever in the NCAA tournament. Obviously,
I asked Trent, do they rush the court? And he was like all the old Nebraska fans running down to the court.
Yeah, you'd have to wonder. There has to be way more Nebraska fans than Troy fans there, so I would think they'd be safe in doing that. And then the other game going on right now, Wisconsin High Point, and this is another trendy upset pick of High Point, the 12 beating Wisconsin right now. Wisconsin is up by 2 points, 17-15. So that one still early on. We did find out last night that Florida will take on Prairie View A&M as they beat Lehigh 67-55. The leading scorer, their guard, Dante Horn, he had 25 points. But get this, Taylor, 3 players for Prairie View A&M, 3 of them played every single minute of the game.
Wow.
All 40 minutes. I am wondering, are they going to try and repeat that against Florida?
Yeah.
Tomorrow night.
Can you repeat that?
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that, but that is going to be such a tough task because Florida, as we know, has so much depth. Todd Golden has a great bench, and even if they're not scoring a ton of points like a Micah Handlogton, he's still getting a ton of rebounds, and he's still able to run the floor just like the other bigs are. So that is going to be a really stiff challenge, I think, for Prairie View A&M. As if it wasn't difficult already when you're a 1 versus a 16 or a 16 versus a 1.
Yeah, I don't think anybody, I wouldn't guess that anybody has that as their upset on the bracket.
I mean, the Gator haters, of course, do.
Yeah,
you know,
maybe
FSU
just for the hope of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
FSU fans for sure.
I was reading a little bit more about when we found out that that's who they'd be matched up against. And obviously, you know all the strengths of the Gators by now, if you're listening to the station, or in, you know, maybe some of the weaknesses you want to talk about, which one of those I did see that Prairie View, they like 6th most turnovers forced in college basketball this season. I want to say it's like 50. They average 15 a game, and that's something that at times this year Florida struggled with. And when we talked to Patrick Young earlier 3 weeks ago, so whenever he was on the show, I don't know, time's blending together now. But he mentioned, you know, early on in the season, he mentioned that, and Todd Golden kind of came at him because he tweeted something about it, and that got fixed for a while. But this last game, it was an issue again. So that's something to keep an eye on. I'm just more so the chance of it being maybe a little closer than people think, not technically an upset.
Yeah, I think, like you said, probably most people don't have any of the 16s beating the 1 seeds, but we have seen it in tournaments past. I think for the longest time it had never happened, and then it happened like 2 years in a row, something along those lines. But yeah, I would imagine that that Florida right now is going to be a team that can kind of play, not safe is the wrong word, but I feel like even a vanilla game plan tomorrow night against Prairie View A&M, they just don't have the height, the depth that, like we just talked about, but also they're just not as big as Florida. It's also going to be hard to find most teams in the tournament that are as big as Florida. But yeah, certainly Florida has to take care of the ball.
Florida has too.
Yeah, but Gator fans, of course, want to see Florida look much more like the Florida we saw beat teams like in Arkansas, like in Alabama, play really well in the SEC other than losing those 2 games and then the 1 game in the SEC tournament. Florida wants to get off to a good start. Yeah. So I don't think Florida fans are listening to me going, no, just a boring game plan tomorrow is fine. No. They want to come out firing.
Oh, yeah, you definitely do, especially off the last 2 games. I mean, you talk about Vandy and losing to Vandy, and a lot of people say maybe you needed that to, spark something, but you didn't play well against Kentucky. You were able to beat Kentucky, but it wasn't pretty. And so you definitely want to get more back, more on track of some of those games, to your point that you were saying, where you felt confident that they could beat anybody. And the last 2 games, it hasn't really felt like that. So maybe the Vandy game is what they needed to spark that of, okay, got to be serious now at this point to win the tourney.
Well, speaking of Florida basketball, coming up at 3 o'clock, we will chat with former Gator and, of course, former NBA player Chandler Parsons. He's a fantastic basketball expert and resource, so we'll talk to him, like I said, coming up at 3 o'clock. And on the other side, we'll get into some college football. So much going on in the world of college football, not just spring practices, but the future of the college football playoff, like we touched on a little bit yesterday. So we will chat with Richard Johnson, who works for CBS Sports, and get into some college football, as well as keeping you up to date with all things March Madness. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Saddle up with the Frangie Show. Afternoons on 1010XL.
Termite swarms are active right now in Jacksonville, and once they get inside, damage can happen fast. Termites don't knock, they silently attack the structure of your home, leaving behind costly repairs and long-term headaches. Protect what you've worked hard for with the proven protection homeowners trust. Terminix, with advanced termite treatment and prevention solutions. Visit Terminix.com and schedule your free termite inspection today.
For 25 years, Instant Keys has been the go-to locksmith service for car keys, transponders, and even high-tech smart locks. For honest, professional locksmith service, Instant Keys comes to you.
Jacksonville is thinking teal, and so are Mike Dempsey and Fat Tony. It's Jaguars Today, breaking down everything Jags and NFL. Brought to you by Renewal by Anderson, custom windows and doors. Weekdays 10 to noon on 1010XL.
Hey, Jacksonville, I'm sure by now you've seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We are an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We are committed to customer service, reliability, and have unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. GFL, green for life.
Divorce, menonly.com. This is Kenny Lay of Kenny Lay & Associates. Our firm specializes in representing men in family law. That's all we do. That's our only focus. We can help with all of your family law needs, such as divorce, custody, alimony, and child support. For over a decade, we have helped thousands of men with these types of issues. We even have an appellate division ready to challenge a judge's ruling. If you need a family law attorney, go to divorcemenonly.com. Divorcemenonly.com. Offices, Jacksonville.
Beat the spring cleaning rush and call our cleaning heroes at Zero Res. Hey, Hicken here. Springing forward feels better on freshly cleaned carpets and floors. Let Zero Res remove lingering grime and prepare your home for the brighter days ahead. Check out all of the raging customer reviews online. 4.9 Google rating. This month, $50 per room of carpet clean. Let's take 25% off hard floor cleaning, hardwood tile LVP, when you ask for the 1010XL special. Call 904-287-5727 or go online at zeroresjacksonville.com. Spell it forward or backward. It spells the same. Zero Res.
Bud Light and everyone at Anheuser-Busch want to remind you to get home safely every time. People are counting on you, on the road and at home. Plan ahead with safe rides, and don't forget to hydrate between beers. Bud Light encourages everyone to enjoy responsibly and socialize safely.
Not everyone is built for a cubicle. At Local 234, apprentices get paid to learn hands-on skills like plumbing, pipe fitting, HVAC, the stuff Jacksonville runs on. No endless lectures, no massive student debt, just hands-on training, real jobs, and real pay. This is how you level up, by doing work that actually matters. Check them out at UA234.com. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Local 234. Make the right connection.
At the First Coast YMCA, there's no place like this place, with programs and experiences that will bring your whole family together. Summer will be here before we know it, and Y Summer Day Camp registration is now open. Visit your local Y to secure your child's spot early for a season full of memories and adventure. Don't delay. Day camps will fill up. There's no place like this place, so visit your local Y to sign up or online at fcymca.org. Search Summer Day Camp.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialist is now offering ortho walk-in appointments. If you have an immediate need for orthopedic care, contact Southeast Orthopedic Specialist immediately. Avoid ERs and urgent care waiting rooms. For more information, go to se-ortho.com.
Relieve pain and get back to life. SOS. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch. Here's another call on the 1010XL hotline, driven by Key Buick GMC, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty.
Taylor Dahl, RJ Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks with you. Tom McManus has this week off. He will be back next week. But right now, we're going to check in with our friend Richard Johnson, who covers all things college football for CBS Sports. Richard, sorry to pull you away from March Madness.
It's no problem. I could always take 10 minutes for y'all.
We so appreciate it. All right, let's get into the future of the college football playoff. We were just talking about this yesterday and how they might end up going from 12 teams to 24 teams and skipping over that 16-team bracket. That seems a bit much to us.
Yeah, it seems a bit much to me too, and there isn't really a good reason for it. They haven't really offered a justification for it. The Big Ten just basically wants to do it, and they're kind of caught between whether the Big Ten's 24-team vision will win out, or if the SEC's kind of 16 vision, because I think the SEC wants to expand to 16 teams. If that wins out, there's an option to go to 14 as well. That was kind of skipped over also. So right now, it's sort of like the soul of the sport is caught up between if the Big Ten and the SEC can find some common ground and agree to something. And it is contractually necessary, effectively, for the Big Ten and the SEC to agree on something, because they hold the lion's share, basically, of controlling interest of the future of the college football playoff. That was kind of ceded over to them a couple of years ago in negotiation.
Richard, when we talk about that schedule for college football and how it kind of looks right now at this time, that second portal now gone, which a lot of people agree that should have happened. They were in agreement with how that ended up panning out. I know John Sumrall of the Gators shared his thoughts that he kind of feels like maybe the first-year coaches should get the second portal as they see, kind of evaluate that talent during spring camp. But I don't know if that would ever be a thing that could happen to where you separate that from first-year coaches to other coaches.
Well, to be honest with you, I don't know if it's just going to be one portal. I think it remains to be seen whether after spring practice you don't see some guys just up and turn up at a new school, something like a Jake Retzlaff did with Tulane. Obviously, there was disciplinary concerns and some disciplinary issues that made him leave BYU. But we have seen the last couple of years guys, quite frankly, just enroll somewhere else. So I have a very open question as to whether that's going to be how some people just try to circumvent not having a formal transfer portal. And if a school tries to challenge it, well, we'll see in court. And, there have been various eligibility challenges all over the place in both football and basketball over the last couple of months. So I don't think this would be any different. So, yeah, I know a lot of people are well-intentionally hoping that the January transfer window is the one that stays, but we'll see.
We shall see is right. Richard Johnson from CBS Sports with us. All right, you've got Arkansas's Ryan Silverfield, Auburn's Alex Golish, Florida, of course, John Sumrall, Kentucky Will Stein, LSU Lane Kiffin, and Ole Miss Pete Golding, all first-year head coaches this year with those schools. Obviously, several have previous head coaching experience. Would you say that Lane Kiffin and John Sumrall are going to be the two that will always be linked together?
Yeah, and I think that's, deservedly so. I think we all understand kind of how it works and how it shook out with those jobs. Pete Golding as well, being a new head coach, even though he coached through the college football playoff, he'll always be linked because of what happened also. But yeah, we will always mention them all in the same breath, just because, quite frankly, how Lane Kiffin went about his business, doing all the stuff that he did, courting multiple jobs while he was still nominally LSU's head coach. Ole Miss's head coach.
And now courting co-eds from what we read on the internet.
Richard, when we talk about the ACC, quite the QB carousel in the ACC, I believe I read only 5 of the quarterbacks returned to the conference, and one of those being Darian Mensah, who transferred to Miami. And so this conference may look quite a bit different. Or is there any team outside of Miami that you like in the ACC this year?
Yeah, obviously I like Miami. I like what they're running back. I have some open questions about some of these teams like Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech's got a new defensive coordinator. They're losing Buster Faulkner out of Florida. I have some questions about whether they can be able to to get the job done with Brent Key kind of year over year. They're losing some key offensive players, obviously Hank King, who's kind of the soul of the program there for so long. And the open question will always remain around Clemson. In my opinion, we're kind of at the end of the rope here with Dabo Swinney. If they go out there and they pull another 6-6, 7-5, I just don't really know what we're doing there. And then, SMU, I think, is kind of sitting there like we've got Kevin Jennings back, we've got some constant, we need to replacing good receivers. But, I think you like on its face what SMU brings to the table. And then Virginia Tech is just going to be fascinating. James Franklin taking over year one, bringing some Penn State players with him. You may think, well, we may be able to get this booted up a little bit faster than you might think up there in Blacksburg.
Richard, I have the idea that you can transfer, but you can't get NIL money to transfer, to try and kind of tamper down with all the different players we see enter the transfer portal, many of whom end up without a college football team at the end of all of it, even though everyone thinks that there's going to be another school for them. What do you think about separating kind of NIL and transfer portal, if it was allowed?
Well, if it was allowed, I get it, but you'd have a situation where, honestly, I would just bake in a raise or a payment to get around that. Like, water is kind of always going to find its level as far as compensating players and getting players paid. And you've got a situation where, and I talk to GMs and I talk to scouting people, the front office and coaches, and they're always like, it's interesting because I can't pay everybody their max value on my roster because there will always be a team that can come and pay him more. So there's just a very interesting dichotomy in the market, if you want to call it that is portal players and transfer and NIL.
We've seen general managers, like you just mentioned, be newer in college football. We see in the NFL, obviously, general managers get fired if the roster's not good enough. We're not quite there yet in college football, but how long do you think before we see general managers in college football fired?
Yeah, I think right now, I think what we've got to do first is see what I think is going to start happening, which is general managers outlasting head coaches. I think that's going to start to happen. General managers setting the roster, getting the guys in, and then it's general managers that hire the next coach and outlast the head coach. So I want to see how that plays out, and then we'll see kind of the next shoe to drop. I think is kind of what you're saying, maybe in 5 or 10 years. A new trend of firing GMs and GM responsibility for rosters.
Richard, one team that I think a lot of people are high on coming into this season is Oregon. How impressed are you with Dan Lanning and what he's been able to do out there, especially considering 8 players turned down the NFL draft to come back and play for him this season, including, obviously, quarterback Dante Moore?
Yeah, he's going to be running it back. I think they're getting key players back, especially on the defensive side of the ball, the defensive front. The thing for me with Dan Lanning is that he's so good at situational game management. I mean, he's aggressive. He knows how to play the math and the arithmetic of the game. He makes decisions that are, I think, a little counterculture that people maybe don't understand because they don't have the data, they don't have the analytics, or they don't have the understanding of the game. He was a play-calling defensive coordinator who became more of a CEO coach, empowers young coaches like Kentucky's head coach Will Stein and Cal's head coach Tosh Lupoi to be on his staff and do what they do. So I can't say enough about how impressive Dan Lanning is. Oregon has for so long been the quote-unquote next program up of power programs to win a national championship, and I do think they will get there under Dan Lanning and kind of fulfill that promise.
Richard Johnson of CBS Sports with us. Richard, is there any coach who's on a hotter seat than Mike Norvell at Florida State?
I don't think so, but you never know what happens. If it goes south at Clemson, if USC doesn't get to the playoff, quite frankly, if Oklahoma comes out and doesn't fulfill our expectation, there are other options. It is college football. Shoes can drop at any point in time. Guys can get fired. But yeah, I mean, Norvell, especially with what they have kind of in that September-October swing there. They get Miami, they play SMU, they play Alabama. Like, they've got some heavy hitter teams that they play against that can beat them. And you have to understand, obviously, they're coming into the season with so much negativity as far as narrative is concerned. And if the offense in particular doesn't play well, Norvell is back on the stick calling the offensive play. So he's got an uphill climb to kind of save his job this season.
Richard, what are you thinking about down in Florida right now? We're hearing a true quarterback battle between Tramel Jones and Aaron Philo. What do you think about those two guys?
You heard some good things about Tramel Jones last year when DJ Lagway was struggling, but we'll see. It's only spring practice. At the end of the day, you've got a guy in Aaron Philo who knows the system, who knows what Buster Faulkner wants to do, and who has continuity with a lot of the Georgia Tech players that have come in with him, like an Eric Singleton, who obviously came by way of Auburn, but is Georgia Tech. The center that they brought in, one of the other wide receivers, the tight end. Like, there's so many Georgia Tech players on this roster, kind of like an offensive import under Buster Faulkner. So we'll see as April and then summer training camp play out, whether it will be Philo's job in the end.
By the way, we have a really good basketball game going on between TCU and Ohio State. TCU just took the lead with a bucket in the paint to take the 2-point lead. It is, 66-64? Somewhere right around there. But yeah, super exciting down the stretch. There's only 4.1 seconds left in this one. So we'll keep people updated. It is such a crazy world that we live in, Richard. We have Indiana as the football national champions, and Florida as the basketball national champions. Well, at least defending. And of course, the tournament for Florida starts tomorrow night. Can Florida go back to back?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, look, they've got height, they've got length, and that honestly helps them more than anything in March. They just are really strong on defense. We'll see. Obviously, no Walter Clayton to hit shots. It seems like about 2 or 3 weeks ago, Florida figured out how to shoot, and those guards started making some of those threes. So I think the returns are pretty heartening if you're a Florida fan about what they can do over the next 3 weeks.
For sure. Yeah, 66-64, 4.1 seconds left. TCU has the lead over Ohio State, but Ohio State, of course, has the ball. All right, Richard, well, we so appreciate your time. Now you can turn your attention back to the tournament.
Thanks, y'all. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. There he goes, Richard Johnson of CBS Sports. Nebraska, by the way, feels like going to win very easily. Nebraska is up by 30 on Troy, 70-40. There is still 5 minutes and 55 seconds left to go. But yeah, this TCU Ohio State game has been an early one that's been, an absolute blast to watch, back and forth. And then, like I said, Ohio State staged a really good comeback. And now they have 4.1 seconds, Taylor, to try and win the game. Go TCU Horned Frogs.
Did you pick TCU in your bracket, too?
I sure did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I did not.
I pick a little bit with my heart when it comes to these things, as you know.
I do that at times.
And Ohio State gets their last-second desperate shot up. It does not go in, and TCU will advance 66-64. So good stuff there. The 9 seed will beat the 8 seed. I do not consider that an upset.
Oh, no, I don't remember.
So what I do is I keep my bracket. I did electronically through CBS Sports, and I just keep my bracket up because other than Florida winning it all, that's about the only thing I remember. I went back and forth on so many different things. Even though I told myself I wasn't going to spend that much time on it, there were still some things I'd hear of different people talking about it or things I'd read, and I'd be like, oh, maybe, that person's right, and I should lean towards their advice.
Yeah, I wait because I feel like if I overthink it, that's when my stuff gets really messy.
Yeah.
And that's in almost anything I do when we do our picks during the year. Usually it's like right before the show, because if my brain will start to like trick myself into being like, oh, what if this happens and what if this happens? And I felt that usually my gut is pretty good to follow for most things. There are sometimes like with this, I'm like, I have no idea about this school.
What's always funny is people will be like, oh, I don't watch college basketball. And then they want to tell you about their bracket. And I'm like, I don't.
You just said you don't. I don't. I'm telling you right now, I don't watch
I know you certainly that you don't, that's not one of your sports, which is fine. But if you were going to be like, I've got bracket advice for you, I'd tell you. I know there's research that
nobody
everyone
listen
can
to
do,
me.
and don't listen to me either, even though I do watch college basketball. I don't watch as much as obviously the experts do. So let's tell people about Mr. Chubby's, the bracket challenge going on.
Yeah.
Print out your brackets, everybody.
Print out your brackets. So multiple ways. Obviously, if you go on to, hopefully you already, they had to be submitted by noon.
Right.
So if you have already submitted, then make sure you do download that bracket that you filled on through our website and print it out. If you print it out and bring it with you to Mr. Chubby's tonight, Rick Ballou will be there from 6 to 8, and then Hacker will be there from 8 to 10. If you bring it in with you to Mr. Chubby's during that time, if you want to go see them, or throughout the day, today and tomorrow through through these beginning games, every game that you have to be in the building for it to happen. But if that team, whoever's on your bracket, advances while you are at Mr. Chubby's, you get a free Budweiser.
I would have a free pint right now with my bracket with TCU advancing.
Too bad we're not there.
That's right. So yeah, they'll be at Mr. Chubby's later tonight, and then coming up after us, the Frangie Show will be at Lola's Burrito and Burger Joint. They're in Riverside on King Street. All right, more to do on the other side. Don't go anywhere. It's Helmets and Heels, 1010XL, 92.5 FM.
Now, another March update delivered by Fleming Island Center for Clinical Research. The future of medicine starts here.
With your March update, I'm Sam Nelson. South Florida isn't offering much resistance as early on Louisville rolls over the Bulls. Nebraska keeps dismantling Troy, and High Point is still making a game of it against Wisconsin. The nail biter is Ohio State and TCU. They're taking it down to the wire, and number 1 Duke gets underway this hour against Siena. That's your March update on 1010XL.
If your ride is making strange noises, don't wait and make it work. Come to Action Transmission on Merrill Road. My expert technicians can diagnose the problem and likely fix it fast. Experience the difference at Action Transmission on Merrill Road.
Hey everybody, Jennifer Marion with Randy Marion Cadillac in Jacksonville here to say hello, and we'd sure like to have your business.
You know what? They're going to love the king of price.
My dad believes in making great deals and having a great selection in stock.
Cadillac XT4s, XT5s, and XT6s, and Escalades.
The all-electric Cadillac Lyriq.
CT4s and CT5s.
Cadillac luxury and selection is just waiting for you.
At Randy Marion Cadillac, Southside Boulevard, Jacksonville.
And don't forget, tell them Jennifer sent ya.
Jeff Pryor, president of Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring.
And I'm Nikki Sema. My dad started in business when I was just 4 years old, and now we're 35 years and 20,000 satisfied customers in, and literally have a showroom in every neighborhood.
So whether you're looking to revitalize your home with new flooring or need more outdoor living space with a glass or screen enclosure, we've got you covered.
Visit our websites and don't forget to stop by our showrooms during our open house and cookout this Saturday from 10 to 3. Come see affordable luxury, experience the Lifetime difference, and receive additional open house discounts.
Lifetime Enclosures.
When it's game time, make feeding the crowd easy. Chicken Salad Chick serves fresh Southern-style chicken salad, flavorful sides, and crowd-favorite catering trays. Order ahead at chickcatering.com or visit one of 4 area locations today.
Best Bet poker fans, the stakes are high this month as Best Bet dishes out over $700,000 between Jacksonville, Orange Park, and St. Augustine's poker rooms. Feeling lucky? How about daily high hands? Weekend winnings every Friday and Saturday. And go for the green on St. Patrick's Day, where a royal flush in clubs wins up to $5,000. See all the details at bestbetjacks.com. That's bestbetjacks.com.
Are you tired of getting hammered by high-interest debt, mortgage rates over 6%, credit cards and car loans at 10, 20%? Hey, Prosser here, and Loan Pronto is here with the answer you've been waiting on, the all-in home refi. One fast, easy solution to lock in the lowest rate in 3 years and wipe out all those nasty loans. One homeowner got their APR down to 4.99%, paid off over $80,000 in high-interest loans, and saved over $2,000 a month. While some lenders charge up to $10,000 in fees to do this, Loan Pronto's cost is $995. $995, and you can wipe out your high-interest loans all at once. It's the all-in refi from Loan Pronto. Super fast, super cheap. No hard credit pull up front, often no appraisal, and you can even skip your next 2 house payments. Loan Pronto, A+, BBB rated with nearly 3,000 5-star Google reviews. It's time to go in now for the all-in refi. Go to loanpronto.com or call 999-1508. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1666781. Visit NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
I'm here with Clayton Bromberg of Underwoods. Clayton, in talking about the quality of cut of a diamond, is there a particular diamond cutter that's known as the best?
Frank, the answer is yes, and that would be Hearts on Fire, who have the world's most perfectly cut diamond, and we have them now at Underwoods. When anybody comes in and looks at one of these diamonds, the first thing they say is, wow! That's because these diamonds are cut from absolute maximum beauty and are really worth seeing, so you have an idea of how good a diamond can really look. They have perfect polish, perfect symmetry, and perfect proportions, and are backed up with an American Gem Society diamond quality document. Now, not every diamond could be a Hearts on Fire diamond because only certain rough diamonds in the hands of the most skilled cutters working in state-of-the-art cutting facilities can cut these. In fact, only 200 diamond cutters out of the 1 million people employed in the diamond cutting trade are skilled enough to cut Hearts on Fire diamonds.
See Hearts on Fire now at Underwood's, San Marco, Avondale, the shops of Ponte Vedra, Underwood Jewelers.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah.
Thanks again to Richard Johnson for joining us. Interesting stuff there on the college football playoff as far as the SEC really wants 16, the Big Ten wants 24, and as we all know, nobody cares what the other conferences want as far as the ACC and the Big 12. So who ends up winning out? That will be the interesting thing, but I feel like whatever path gets everyone the most amount of money, that's the path that they'll take.
Yeah, and that's what we've kind of turned into, and it's turned into like our conference over college football, which I don't personally love, but that's what it is. Everyone cares about their conference. But I mean, it is what it is. At the end of the day, that's their job. You're the commissioner of the Big Ten, or you're the commissioner of the SEC. And so that's going to be your biggest focus at the end of the day, because your job relies on that conference being successful and having money and winning and things like that. And so
and
that's
we don't
going
have
to
anyone that's above
Yeah.
them as far as the true college football commissioner.
Yeah. And so I don't think that's something that's going to go away. And we've had the conversations of, does it get to the point where it's like this super league and it's just two big conferences? And we'll see if college football ever gets to something like that, because then it'd probably be a little different. If you just had, East and West, whatever, hypothetically, like an East and West, and then you had your commissioners or whatever ahead of that, there'd probably be that person that's kind of over all of it, and that person talks to both. But I don't know how far we are, or if that's even in the world. But a lot of people you talk about in college football think it is heading in that direction, just because of all the pull different ways, and we're seeing the conference realignments and all of the things that are happening. And so that a lot of people are like, you could see it happening one day, but I'm not sure.
I would say the NFL is king, and you can adopt something closer to the NFL model, but you can't have 32 teams in college football.
Yeah.
Some people would argue that that would be the best for college football. I disagree, because I think there are more than 32 teams that should be able to compete for the national championship. And so if it was maybe 64 teams, or like the NCAA tournament, the first four, so 68 teams total, and then you can get down to that that tournament bracket from there, or playoff from there. But what I don't love is you're asking these college football players to play more and more games every year, the more expanded the tournament goes. And at least with the NFL, they know going into it the max amount of number of games that they can play, and they are highly compensated for that. There are some college players that are highly compensated, but not all of them, especially like the backup offensive lineman maybe getting $0 NIL dollars. And then if the starting offensive lineman goes down, now they're playing up to 15, 16 games in a season. I feel like it would have been better, instead of the 9-game conference schedule, to maybe go more of like a 10-game in-season schedule. They'll never agree to do this, because then that's reduced revenue. But 10 games of the regular season, and then that way, if you need to play more additional games in the playoff, you're still set up to where you're only asking them to play a certain number of games.
Yeah, well, I mean, the NFL has dealt with it too. They went from 16 to 17, and we're already talking about 18, and then the extra, the playoffs got expanded too. So you've seen those extra games throughout the NFL too. And I think for college football, the interesting thing, and when we had Cam Little on last week at the Players Championship, he mentioned, I asked how hard the offseason is for those rookies, and it's a lot. And now you're having this conversation where some of these teams are starting, if you're week 0, you're starting at the end of August, and you're potentially, if your team's good, you're going into late January. And then, by the way, 1 month later, you have the NFL Combine. And so that's a lot. And I just don't know how realistic it is, because I do think we have started to see a lot and not saying it's solely because of this, because you'd have to go into like a deep study to figure this out.
Right.
But we have seen a lot of rookies battle injuries early on in seasons now, or season-ending injuries. And how much is that because they're fatigue? Like when we talked to Jimmy Smith, he used that word for the Travis Hunter one, the fatigue injury, not because he can't do it or whatever, but when you're going from playing that much college football to having a couple weeks break to having the combine right after that, and then you're in minicamp a month and a half later after that, and then you're in OTAs, and then you're still working off season.
Yeah,
pro days
still end up training for the pro days.
So there's just no break in that, and then you're having a season where you're playing for at least 18 weeks, and that's if you don't make the postseason. So it's nonstop for pretty much 2 years for those guys, and that's what Cam said. Enjoy that first off season after your rookie year, because you need it. by that time.
100%. Yeah. Since you mentioned the players, time now, RJ, for Lauren's Lane.
Now, Lauren's Lane. Opened up by Closets by Design. Imagine your home totally organized.
So, Taylor, per NBC Sports, the fourth round, so the final round of the players this past Sunday, averaged 4.4 million viewers. That is the largest since 2021, up 15% from last year. Now, granted, the final round last year was on a Monday due to weather, but still, it peaked at 7.1 million viewers from 5:45 to 6 o'clock. So well done. Like we talked about earlier this week, well done everyone that works for the PGA Tour and the Players Championship that put on the spectacular show from Ludacris all the way to Cam Young winning. And I think the course looked majestic on TV. And I heard Matt Every with Prosser this morning on The Drill, and he was saying how 17 played kind of easy other than maybe like the first round of the tournament this year. And I don't know that that's the worst thing. You don't really want, I feel like, to determine your champion based off of just how they do at 17. You want the full round to be able to determine it. But good stuff there for the Players Championship. Awesome. And I have to say, I'm already looking forward to 2027. I got the email saying that the hospitality packages, you can go ahead and inquire now. So for companies that want to get a chalet, go ahead and inquire now. There's already the waiting list for the Players Clubhouse tickets. Those are the ones that are all inclusive that you get access to the clubhouse there at TPC. So there's already a waiting list for that. Go ahead and get on that.
Yeah, I think it's really cool because we were having a conversation like in our media chat, and a lot of people were, they were all kind of like, Cameron Young, it's not one of those names. It's not a Scheffler or Rory. And last year was Rory. It was also a playoff. So it is kind of like looking at that of what this tournament was. And you said it was a Monday, but it was Rory McIlroy and it was a playoff on that game. So it is interesting to see kind of this what we feel like the Players Championship is growing into. And we say it all the time, we call it a fifth major for a reason. And I think that we're seeing it get bigger and bigger. And I think it's one of the tournaments where it's good golf. It's some of the best players in golf. It's a large purse, but you can also have fun at this tournament compared to like the Masters, for example. Not saying people don't have fun, but just in the sense of how different they are with phones and all of that type of stuff. And so I think it's fun that we had one this year where it was a Cam Young who maybe for an average, just somebody that turns on the Players and doesn't watch a ton of golf, probably didn't know a ton or if anything about Cam Young, but it was still interesting. I think there was enough names at the top battling at the end of, on Sunday that always makes it interesting when you have two or three names that could all win it. And then obviously that's not including like starting the day with Ludwig and then him kind of falling off. People love the sad stories too, unfortunately, when golfers start to like implode a little bit. People are like, he's human, like he can, it happens to them too.
They love it, especially when it's when it comes to the players, a non-American golfer. They're all behind.
So there was the USA chance.
Yeah, they're all behind the Americans being successful and the other guys falling apart, even though Ludwig plays as far as under the country of America. By the way, I was remembering Florida lost to TCU right around Thanksgiving this year. So I think that's another reason that I was like, I think TCU will beat Ohio State. And in the leading scorer today for TCU was a guy named David Punch. Well, he was tied with Brock Harding. David Punch is a forward, and he played 36 minutes. Brock Harding played 38 minutes. They both scored, like I said, 19 points. David Punch, I remember from that TCU Florida game, he ended up with 16 points. So interesting stuff there.
Yeah, I saw ESPN already posted that over half of the brackets are already busted after the TCU Ohio State. So I'm guessing that it says 60% of people had Ohio State. So at least going past that first round.
Yes, there you have it. All right, James Gladstone is focused on the comp picks. I've got some of the best comp picks from the last 10 years to discuss. We shall be right back. It's 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Made in Jacksonville, for Jacksonville, by Jacksonville. 1010XL, Jacksonville Sports Radio.
Hicken here. See clearly with the Eye Associates and trusted optometrists Zachary Boskool and Alice LaFlamme. From comprehensive eye exams, dry eye care, glaucoma management, diabetic eye care, and more, Dr. Boskool and Dr. LaFlamme are dedicated to protecting your vision. Immediate availability at all 5 Jacksonville locations. Schedule today with Dr. Boskool and Dr. LaFlamme by calling the Eye Associates, formerly Bowden Eye Associates, Schneider Eye and Wellness Center, and Janet Betchkel, MD at 296-0098.
Welcome to Key Buick GMC, proudly family-owned and operated since 1943. Come see why they're North Florida's new and pre-owned truck center, conveniently located on Southside and JTB, just minutes from the St. John's Town Center. At Key Buick GMC, every new vehicle comes with our lifetime powertrain warranty. Key Buick GMC, we are professional grade. Online at keybuickgmc.com. Lifetime powertrain warranty covers engine, transmission, drivetrain only. Exclusions apply. See dealer for details.
My son had a meniscus surgery a couple years ago. Went smooth as silk, was playing tennis in 2 weeks. This is Patrick Malarkey, and I highly recommend Southeast Orthopedic Specialist.
Our son Eric's a Division I collegiate baseball pitcher who is having shoulder pain. We took him to Southeast Orthopedic Specialist and are confident that he's now on the road to recovery. This is Beth Anderson, and we love the care Eric receives at Southeast Orthopedic Specialist.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Living on Amelia Island, having fun in Fernandina Beach? No matter what brings you to the fun, cozy town, make sure you check out the tap room at Mokama Beer Company. With a full flight of craft creations, from the Cosmico IPA to the Motor, the perfect pilsners and lagers, matching memories and some Mokama magic is what it's all about. Mokama Beer Company in Fernandina Beach, near the big water where the sun is born. And look for more Mokama craft at your local Total Wine or ABC Liquors.
All right, Jack, so let's talk about it. Spring cleaning feels great until your drains remind you what they've been holding on to all winter. If your sink's burping, your shower's backing up, or your toilet's hesitating like it's reading a blitz, it's time to call in the pros. Call Duck Duck Rooter. During their spring drain cleaning promotion, get your drains cleaned plus a free camera inspection for just $129. Must have outside clean out, honest pricing, proven experience, no fourth quarter surprises. When you're stuck, call the Duck. That's 904-862-6769 or duckduckrooter.com.
Hoops action is here. Watch the madness with 1010XL and enjoy madness specials all day long. Starting with the Frangie Show live 4 till 6 at Lola's Burrito and Burger Joint on King Street in Riverside. Come in for all the action on multiple TVs and enjoy drinking food specials. Then from 6 till 10, come out to Mr. Chubby's Wings in Ponte Vedra Beach for Into the Night with Rick Ballou, then Hacker After Dark. Now that's the way to tip off the madness of March Hoop celebrations.
Get ready for spring turkey season at Green Acres Sporting Goods. Find shotguns trusted in the field from Browning, Beretta, and Benelli. Plus, the newest bows are ready to test shoot from Hoyt and Matthews. For over 55 years, Green Acres Sporting Goods has helped Northeast Florida hunters gear up with confidence. Stop by Green Acres today at the corner of Normandy and Hammond Boulevard or shop online anytime at greenacresporting.com.
Alert! Alert! Termite swarms are active right now in Jacksonville, and once they get inside, damage can happen fast. Termites don't knock, they silently attack the structure of your home, leaving behind costly repairs and long-term headaches. Protect what you've worked hard for with the proven protection homeowners trust. Terminix it with advanced termite treatment and prevention solutions. Visit Terminix.com and schedule your free termite inspection today.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still, present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch.
Congratulations to all the Cornhuskers out there. That's who my grandmother cheered for, by the way, my dad's mom. Nebraska beat Troy for their first ever win in the NCAA tournament, 76-47. It wasn't even close, so Nebraska gets to advance, and we'll keep you updated with all the scores right now. It is halftime for High Point in Wisconsin. Wisconsin leads by 2. They're 41-39, and then the second half has begun for Louisville and South Florida. Louisville is up by 10, and as we already told you, TCU beat Ohio State 66-64. All right, comp picks, Taylor Dahl. I have the best comp picks, some of the best comp picks over the past 10 years. So last year, for the Tennessee Titans, don't love that it's this team, but Alec Iomanner, the wide receiver out of Stanford, was picked with a comp pick. So always appreciate those compensatory.
I struggle with that word.
Compensatory picks.
I just say comp.
Right. Comp makes sense. Yeah. Compensatory. James Gladstone, when asked about his free agency strategy, basically said, we are more concerned with the comp picks.
Yeah.
And being able to acquire more draft capital at that point in time.
Yeah. And obviously we were familiar with Alec Iomanner anyways before the draft, and I remember a lot of people going into the draft when there was a lot of rankings, when you're just straight, the positional rankings, he was listing on a lot of people's like top 10 in that area. So that is depending, it depends where those comp picks are, but we have seen the successful ones, and I do think that's the beginning of Alex. So we'll see as time continues how much we're talking about him, but that it seems like the Jaguars are, and number one, you're broke. So when you're broke, you do have to find other ways to make sure you can fill holes on your roster. But I do think that they've been very clear in the sense, too, that they want to build not just like a year or two product.
Right.
They want this to be for the future, and draft picks are the future.
Absolutely. And to remind people, compensatory picks or comp picks, additional draft selections awarded to teams that experience a net loss of free agents. So for this team, obviously, Etienne and Lloyd, Achane and Lloyd. It'll take me a long time to get that down. All right. So in 2024, the best comp pick, Jarian Jones. Florida
Love
State.
that.
Yeah, obviously plays corner for the Jacksonville Jaguars. We'll see if he ends up with a starting role this upcoming season or if he comes off the bench at times. That is yet to be determined. In 2023, I think probably one of the more famous comp picks, Puka Nacua, wide receiver for the LA Rams. The year before, Mr. Irrelevant, Brock Purdy was picked.
Wow, that
with
was a comp pick.
Yeah.
So he was Mr. Irrelevant comp
Correct.
pick.
Mr.
Wow.
Irrelevant and a comp pick. I feel like nobody mentions that, and they should.
I don't think
So,
so.
yeah, Brock Purdy, the quarterback of the 49ers. The year before that, the Broncos got a guard, Quinn Meinertz, from Wisconsin Whitewater.
Oh.
So took a chance on him, and he's been good for the Broncos. The Steelers ended up with Alex Highsmith.
Wow.
I know. Thanks to a comp pick, the outside linebacker that played for Charlotte. The year before that, in 2019, the Buffalo Bills tight end Dawson Knox out of
That's a good
Ole
one.
Miss was a good, very good comp pick. A guy we wanted here, we just probably couldn't afford him. Defensive tackle John Franklin Myers. He was actually selected by the Rams, ended up then going to the Broncos, and then, of course, now with the Tennessee Titans. Boo. The year before that, 2017, also one of the best comp picks, I would say, ever. Trey Hendrickson.
Yeah, that one might be. That one might work out.
Linebacker
Well, I guess not for the
FAU.
Bengals anymore. But.
Right, yeah. He's moved on to the Ravens. And then Dak Prescott, another quarterback on this list, quarterback for the Cowboys, of course, Mississippi State product. He was a comp pick in 2016. The Cowboys got him in, the fourth round?
Yeah.
Which, I feel like moving forward, this is not necessarily a bold take. I feel like we'll never again see like a high caliber starting quarterback picked beyond like the fourth round. Like I know Tom Brady was for a brief period of time. We thought maybe Gardner Minshew was the steal in the sixth round. But nowadays, these teams need quarterbacks so desperately that I feel like they're going to select them between rounds like 1 and 4.
Yeah. And Brock obviously is one of the recent ones that you won't. And I think it may slip in every now and then in a sense of maybe somebody, but more so not the focus of, okay, this team needs a quarterback. But I could see it happening where you draft a quarterback in the 4th, 5th, or 6th round as a backup, and then your quarterback gets hurt or your quarterback suddenly retires or whatever the case may be. And then maybe we see those successful ones. But I do think we live in this world now where teams have really realized that the quarterback is what is winning. And I think there was a period of time where you go back to even 2006 with Rex Grossman, and he wasn't a very good quarterback, and he wasn't, at least for the Bears, and they were still able to make it to the Super Bowl because of the run game, because of the defense and things like that. I think we are getting a little farther away from that. I think you do need quarterbacks now. It's a passing league, and you need quarterbacks to be able to not technically carry, because I think we see successful teams where Sam Darnold, I wouldn't say carried his team to the Super Bowl, but you need ones that can be efficient and consistent. And you're usually not waiting until the 5th round to take a chance on one of those. You're reaching
Unless
a little
you're the
bit
Browns.
sometimes. Yeah.
The Browns
and then you
took
wait
Dylan
and you draft
Gabriel.
all of the quarterbacks that are
and
late.
Shedeur Sanders. But yeah, I mean, as you look around the league, I would say most of the quarterbacks, let's look at the last few years. Like the Eagles have won, the Seahawks we just talked about. He was number 1 overall. Jalen Hurts went in the 2nd round? And then obviously Patrick Mahomes in the 1st round. Before that, you've got, we're going to take the outlier of Tom Brady. And other than him, like I really wonder if we'll ever again see a quarterback drafted in the 6th round win a Super Bowl other than maybe Brock Purdy.
Yeah. And I do, I think those were outliers a lot anyways, but I do think we see it less and less. I was trying to remember because, Nick Foles was 3rd round. I was trying to see where Nick Foles was drafted. But I think that, we just quarterback and coach, this is what we've talked about so much now. And there's a reason that Kansas City's been able to do what they have. And that's with maybe not even the best surroundings you talk about until, recent times, and you lost one of your wide receivers last year in Rashee Rice anyways, but you feel like they haven't had outside of Travis Kelce, it's always been like their wide receivers are fine, but they haven't had Justin Jeffersons and Jamar Chases there.
And then they had Tyreek.
Yeah, and obviously that. And then they shipped him off because they were like, okay, well, we have a quarterback that doesn't need Tyreek Hill. And so I feel like when you have a Mahomes, it's just such a different world. But Brock's definitely one of those examples of, hey, be patient, but they tried to figure things out. They did draft one very high in Trey Lance, and it didn't work. And so I don't think they were drafting Brock Purdy to be like, this is going to be our quarterback of the future. I think Brock Purdy was coming in. They're like, oh, we like this guy. Maybe he can be a backup and have a place on our roster somewhere. And he ended up coming in and being good. I don't know if that's the plan. If they did, then they're very smart. They're like, we're going to wait until the very last pick to get our quarterback.
You also would take, anytime you think a quarterback's going to be good, you're not going to wait until the very last pick.
There's
of the
no
draft.
way they purposefully did that.
No, absolutely not. You're always going to say, okay, a third rounder or a fourth rounder, even a fifth rounder, like all of those are worth taking a flyer on a quarterback. All right, we will get it back to hoops on the other side. Former Florida Gator and NBA player Chandler Parsons joins us to talk some Gator hoops. Don't go anywhere. It's Helmets and Heels 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Believe in the unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
1010XL.
I can't believe it. I can't believe it.
We're hearing is believing.
Unbelievable.
The Brown Family YMCA in Ponte Vedra Beach is better than ever. Come experience our new renovated spaces, including an expanded wellness center with upgraded state-of-the-art equipment, recovery solutions, brand new locker rooms, and the Horsell Center for Health and Well-Being, all designed to help you feel your best. And now you can join with no joining fee. Plus, enjoy your 4th month free. There's no place like this place. And you'll love what's new. Visit the Brown Family YMCA in Ponte Vedra Beach.
Ace Carline here for Atlantic Infinity, and yes, I'm still loving my new QX60. Right now, you can lease one or lock in just 1.9% financing for 60 months, and every new Infinity comes with the Atlantic Infinity Promise. That's over $7,000 in added value. That's one of many reasons why I bought mine there. No pressure, no games, just a great experience. Make your next ride an Infinity from Atlantic Infinity. Visit AtlanticInfinity.com or the showroom near Atlantic and St. John's Bluff.
Roll through the offseason with AA Automotive and 1010XL. Fresh faces in new places. Give me the ball. Listen for free agency profiles. Built by Premier Outdoor Inc., a visionary of hardscapes and aquatics.
Rotator cuff injuries are common among athletes and those who have physically demanding careers. Don't let this injury keep you away from the sport you love. Dr. George Barry here, and the first thing you need to do with a serious shoulder injury is to diagnose where the damage is and how significant it is. Rotator cuff tears are either acute tears sustained during an injury or accident, or degenerative tears. If you're interested in learning more about rotator cuff repair and how our expert team of orthopedic surgeons can help you, call Barry Orthopedics today or visit barryorthopedics.com.
Home of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
We've all seen the Nike logo on many famous athlete shirts and hats. But what is Nike? The answer next.
When you file a claim with Southern Oak Insurance, we schedule one of our trusted vendors to work directly with you, which means a faster claim resolution. Find out more at southernoak.com.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
Nike is the goddess of victory. No wonder Scotty Scheffler wears that logo.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
Blue here for the Blue Crab House, located right off of San Jose. It's on Jewington Creek Road. They've been around since 1996. Indoor-outdoor dining. Also, takeout is available at the Blue Crab House. Open 4:30 to 9, Tuesday through Saturday. Sunday, noon until 9. Remember, Tuesday, $2 margaritas. Wednesday, $1 oyster night. How about the blue crabs? How about my personal favorite, the Canadian snow crabs? Whatever it is that you fancy, you get it right there. The Blue Crab House.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Billy, your gas light's on. We need to stop and fill up.
No way, Jen. Gas around here is too expensive. We can make it a little further.
Billy, listen to your big sister. You don't need to drive all over searching for the lowest gas prices. Do what I do and use Upside.
Upside?
Do you live under a rock, Billy? Upside is the hottest cashback app out there. It's free to download, and you get real cash back for every gallon of gas you buy. I use it all the time, and I've already made around $200.
You can make that kind of cash back just for buying the gas you have to buy anyway?
Yes, I'm looking at the Upside app now, and there's a gas station at the next exit offering 25 cents per gallon cash back.
Okay, I'm stopping to download Upside and fill up my tank. Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code LAUGH to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, to PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code LAUGH for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code LAUGH for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
This free agency profile is covered by Universal Roof and Contracting. Experience the universal difference.
Jacksonville lies low in the free agent market and nails down some of their own. Cornerback Monteric Brown re-signs for 3 years and $33 million. The team in teal holds on to another corner, Christian Broswell, for 1 year and $1 million. And linebacker Dennis Gardeck stays in Duval for 2 years and $6.5 million.
I'm Max Fink with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update brought to you by USA Park. March Madness is finally here with 1010XL, keeping you updated all day long. Head down to Mr. Chubby's Wings in Ponte Vedra tonight to watch the games, enjoy food and drinks, and hang out with Rick Ballou from 6 to 8, and then Hacker from 8 to 10. It's 63 degrees at 2:59 time and temp, brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch. Here's another call on the 1010XL hotline, driven by Key Buick GMC, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty.
Taylor Dahl is here. RJ Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks with you. And Chandler Parsons joins us now, former Gator and NBA player. We're going to talk some Gator hoops. Chandler, thank you so much for hopping on with us today.
Thanks for having me. How you guys doing?
We are fabulous. Thanks. The weather's gorgeous. March Madness has begun, so all good.
That is the best day of the year. Watching these first couple of games is so fun. I remember like it was yesterday.
For sure. All right, so the way that college basketball is now, college sports in general, with NIL and the transfer portal, do you think you still would have gone to Florida if, let's say, other teams were offering you maybe more money?
Yeah, you know what? It's a great question because obviously at that part of my life, I wasn't financially stable. I come from a very middle-class family. It would have been a decision, but, at the end of the day, I was a huge Gator fan. I was a huge Billy Donovan fan. I love the players that kind of played at UF before I was there. And so I'd always wanted to go there. And I think that's the biggest difference now is obviously now it's more business-wise, it's more financially incentivized than just full-blown love for that college and that university or that coach and program. So it's slightly different. And listen, money is money. I'm not going to say I wouldn't take more money to go somewhere else.
Sure.
But at the end of the day, I went to Florida because I love the Gators. I love Billy Donovan. And I love that team that went back to back my junior and senior year of high school. So I wanted to be a part of a program that was, much bigger than, financial status. Because I also knew that if I was good in college, I was going to one day be able to make, as much money as I did. So, but it's a fair question because I never had that opportunity to get offered that kind of crazy money so early in my career. But I definitely learned it.
When Gator fans see you, is the first thing they bring up NC State or something else?
Well, you usually just get the Gator chomp right away, and it is awesome just to see, no matter where I am in the world, there's always Gator fans. So we travel. We travel deep and we are everywhere, but definitely the NC State shot's huge. The South Carolina game winner was huge. And just overall, just the love that you get still kind of everywhere you are from being a Gator is still there and still very much exists.
Chandler, when we talk about coaches, you just mentioned Billy Donovan several times and that just kind of proves how important finding the right coaches in any sport, but in college basketball, you've really seen that direct link to the right coach and being able to win and building a team consistently. And so one thing we've seen from Todd Golden, obviously last year, winning it all, is just the adjustments, and whether that be in game, whether that be with injury and having to kind of maneuver things early this season, the changes he had to make when they weren't winning early on. But what do you think the biggest takeaway is from this loss against Vanderbilt will be heading into the tournament?
Yeah, as crazy as it sounds, I kind of like the late end of the season conference tournament loss. Obviously, we were one of the hotter teams in the country going into the SEC tournament, and I like a little bit of humble pie before the tournament. It's hard to continue to win out and play at such an elite level, and so I think that was great film material that Todd was able to have and kind of show, like, listen, our stinks, and we are beatable, and we are not perfect, and to repeat is very, very hard to do. So we definitely are not perfect and have a lot of things to clean up, and I think that's one thing Todd in particular has just done great with, just adjusting and adapting to the new game, the new rules, the new system, and it's a whole nother game, and it's a completely different situation than it was when I was playing. But I think it's a great learning curve there to have a loss like that. And I don't really love that they're on our side of the bracket, but I don't think they're. I got a couple issues with our side of the bracket, but I don't mind a loss. I don't mind a loss like that at the end of the season because again, it shows that you aren't perfect and it humbles you right before the big dance.
Yeah, I totally agree. Chandler Parsons with us, former, of course, Gator legend, men's basketball player, and NBA player. All right, Jimmy Dykes, Chandler, said that the best big man ball handler that Florida has since you is Alex Condon. Do you agree with that? Do you think you could throw Thomas Houck in there? How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I think they're both terrific. I think Tommy is more of a guard, kind of more of a wing, and Alex is more of a big and kind of a back to the basket guy. But they're both very smart players. They're both very tough. They're long. They're athletic. I definitely see some similarities. Sorry, that's my dog going nuts. I definitely see some similarities in both of them in my game, and they just continue to get better. And I love that they both came back. I love that they both want to go back to back. They're hardworking dudes, and they're versatile. And as we all know, like in the tournament, you need a lot of good guard play too. So Boogie's going to be important. Lee's going to be important. Urban's going to be important. But those two guys can really handle it, and they're really smart players for their size.
When you talk about Florida and the strength, obviously, the way they hit the boards better than anybody in college basketball, they average 14.5 more than any of their opponents. So how important will that be down the stretch? We hear so much about the guard play, but it does feel like they kind of play that inside-out game.
Yeah, I think offensively the guards are huge, just to be able to make shots and spread the floor and get great possessions. And now front court wise, I don't even think it's close. I think we got the best front court in the country. When you talk about guys like Tommy and Alex and then Ruben, what he does on the defensive end, the way he rebounds basketball, I don't even think it's close how stacked our front line is, and just the way they hit the offensive glass, the way we defend. I definitely think we're one of the balanced teams offensively and defensively. And it starts with that front line, and I don't think anybody can match up with that. So for us, I think to go back to back and to kind of have that success we did last year in the tournament, it's going to come down to the guard play, and I think they're fully ready and capable of doing that.
All right, Chandler, I'm sure you filled out a bracket. So do you have Florida winning it all this year again?
Oh, come on. Don't be ridiculous. I will say, I don't know if I can curse on here, but it's absolute bullshit that we're a one seed and we have to go to a region and possibly play Houston, a two seed in Houston. I don't know how they blew that, but that's not right. But again, I don't think we're going to make any excuses there. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. But yes, of course, I got the Gators going all the way.
Heck yeah, me too.
I think several people in our building do. Is there any preference for you for the next round with Iowa or Clemson? Somebody that Florida matches
Honestly,
better?
No. I think they're both solid teams. They're both well coached. And again, I think if we play our style of play, if we pound the glass, and if our guards can make shots like we kind of did towards the end of the season there, I truly think we're the best team in college basketball. And obviously, I'm biased, and I'm a Gator for life, but I don't think that's a stretch. And I see a lot of other people around the country taking us to win it all, and I think it's a good pick. And this is one of the first years too where I think there's a solid 10, 12 teams that could actually win it all. Like last year, obviously, all number one seeds went to it. Arizona, Duke, they're very good this year too. But I think there's a lot of great teams that have a chance. I love Arkansas. I love the Kid Acuff. I love Illinois. I hate that they're on our bracket. But there's a lot of really good teams that can win it this year.
Chandler, have you gotten the opportunity to meet Todd Golden and spend any time with him?
Yeah, I have. Me and Todd have a great relationship from the moment that he's been hired. He's done a great job kind of continuing to develop relationships with ex-players and guys that kind of paved the path for the current roster now. And he's obviously young and he's very cool, and he's just like talking to one of my boys. I mean, he'll just FaceTime me, and we always are texting or DMing on Instagram and things like that. But he's definitely got that great sense of humor, that great charisma. And I know if I was in college, I definitely would want to play for a guy like him.
I do have to pivot it just a tiny bit because I'm a Bulls fan, and obviously Billy Donovan being up there, everybody's gone. Io and Kobe and everybody through the trade deadline, it felt like a different team afterwards. What can the Bulls do to help Billy and get the Bulls back winning?
Well, I think they found gold with Josh Giddey. I think he's a great player. I think he can really be a floor leader and a floor general, and he's one of those true point guards that likes to make the game easier for guys around him. And Mathis is also another guy where he's got a lot of potential, and he's a freak athletically. I saw him in the gym in LA last year, and he can do some things above the rim that not many guys in the league can do. So obviously, had some moving pieces. They missed Vooch, they missed Kobe, but when you're coached by Billy Donovan, I think you're going to get the best out of those players, and I think they'll always be in the hunt.
All right, Chandler, well, we so appreciate your time today. Enjoy watching the games, and go Gators.
Thank you, guys. Go Gators.
We so appreciate Chandler's time. Like I said, he is a busy guy covering the NBA, and obviously he's a guy that is a true Gator legend. Like I said that during the interview, but I don't know that people really outside of Gainesville maybe appreciate it because he wasn't on necessarily a national championship team. But he's a guy that is one of the most improved players to ever play in Gainesville. And at one point in time, Taylor, Billy Donovan was upset with his, I think it was his sophomore year, that team. And he wouldn't let them wear the Gator logo. He made them practice at Buchholz High.
Wow.
And just wanted to get, the message sent to them. You're better than the way you're playing. And nowadays, that type of guy might have transferred. That type of player in that situation might have transferred elsewhere. But he didn't. And he started school like 6'8", 100 and let's say like 70 something pounds or 180 something pounds. And he finished like 6'10", 220 pounds.
Oh,
yeah. One of the
bulked
best.
Up a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously learned to shoot from three, which
Yeah.
is why he was so good in the NBA.
Yeah, we were talking about it a little. He's made a lot of money in the NBA.
Yes, he was at one point awarded a 4-year, $94 million contract by the
pretty
Memphis
nice.
Grizzlies. So yeah, that'll work. And I say so good in the NBA. He obviously ended up with a lot of injuries, and then his career was cut short, unfortunately, by he was T-boned by a drunk driver back in 2020. But thankfully, he's doing much better now, and yeah, loves to talk ball. And we so appreciate RJ for connecting us with Chandler Parsons. And coming up next, we're gonna get it back to football. Justin Mello, NFL draft on Sports Illustrated. I feel like we always talk to him. He's our draft expert, all things draft. So
Yeah,
let's
Justin's
chat with Justin. On the other side, it's Helmets and Heels, 1010XL, 92.5 FM.
Every day is a perfect day for football on Jacksonville's football station. Just lock your radio on 1010XL to get your year-round football fix. 1010XL, 92.5 FM.
Are you looking for a place to outfit your truck or van? It's Catlin Truck Accessories. For 105 years and 4 generations, Catlin is the name you can count on. This is Keith Catlin, and we know trucks and vans too, from Lear toppers, ladder racks, van shelving, strobe lighting, roll and lock bed covers, and everything in between. If you want quality products and great customer service, there's only one name. It's Catlin.
Who can you count on? Count on Catlin.
For 105 years, you can count on Catlin.
If you're the kind of person who likes to compete and win, listen up. Purple Heart Pools is hiring sales professionals and project managers to start immediately. Purple Heart Pools is a veteran-owned company building some of the most impressive custom pools in Northeast Florida. And they're looking for people who want to grow, earn, and be part of a winning team. If you've got the drive, work ethic, and the leadership mindset, search Purple Heart Pools and apply today. Equal opportunity employer.
They give their best physically and mentally.
Listen for the Southeast Orthopedic Specialist Scholar Athlete of the Week, tuned up by
The Plumbers and Pipe Fitters Local Union 234
Wednesday afternoons on The Frangie Show.
on 1010XL.
Yo, ET here. And you know that on the field preparation wins championships, right? Well, the same goes for your health. Right here in my side of town in Fleming Island, Encore Research Group is helping locals take charge through cutting-edge research studies. Everything from weight loss to diabetes and hypertension. Their team of local, multi-specialty doctors is focused on advancing medicine and keeping our community healthy. If you want to see if you qualify, check them out at encoredocs.com.
In a sea of big box corporate chain jewelry stores here, Beard's Diamonds is a refreshing alternative.
I grew up in Jacksonville, and we have been shopping at Beard's for over 2 decades.
Meet Richard Skinner. Richard's journey with Beard's started when nobody could even come close on the engagement ring he wanted.
We did shop around that stone and that particular setup with different jewelers, and Beard's was able to come in significantly lower. It was a no-brainer.
Since then, he's become another voice in the word-of-mouth advertising that has made Beard's Beards stronger than ever.
I have referred my friends and sisters and brothers, and they have all had a very, very pleasurable experience at Beards. The selection is great. The staff is awesome. It's a well-run business that really does care about their clients and their customers.
And unlike the others at Town Center, Beards is a locally owned family jeweler.
The fact that they're locally owned, it does give you a little bit more personal experience. They actually have a desire to better the city of Jacksonville.
Beards Diamonds. Online at beardsdiamonds.com.
The price of gold is soaring, and the price of silver is near record highs. If you've got gold or silver just lying around, Estates Roadshow wants it. Broken chains, old rings, coins, watches, diamonds, vintage jewelry. If it's valuable, they're buying it. No appointment needed, just walk in, get a free appraisal, and walk out with cash. They're also buying pre-1964 silver coins, flatware, sterling silverware stamped 925. They're buying coin collections, gold, silver, foreign, and domestic. Plus, they've been in business over 35 years with thousands of prior happy customers. Licensed, bonded, state-certified scales, highest tech equipment, employees with GIA certifications. The Estates Roadshow is happening 10 to 5 through Friday, close by in St. Augustine at World Golf Renaissance and Palm Coast at the Holiday Inn Express. Call Marshall at 609-781-6559 or go to estatesroadshow.com and follow Estates Roadshow on Facebook to see all upcoming events.
When you're hungry, go big, and more importantly, go to Dailies, where they got anything and everything to tantalize your taste buds and fill you up. At Dailies, our barbecue beef brisket sandwich is slow smoked to perfection, tender, juicy, and full of bold flavor. It's the kind of sandwich that truly satisfies. Try the barbecue brisket sandwich at Dailies. Meanwhile, some favorites never go out of style. The Duval sub at Dailies is stacked, loaded, and made with the bold flavor you want in every bite. Fresh ingredients, big taste. It's a local favorite. Grab the Duval sub today at Dailies. Or maybe you just want a delicious chicken sandwich. Some choices just work. The chicken sandwich at Dailies is crispy on the outside, it's juicy on the inside, and it is full of flavor. Perfect for lunch, perfect for dinner, perfect anytime hunger hits. So grab the chicken sandwich today at Dailies. Dailies is made fresh, it's made local, and Dailies is built for big appetites. I'll see you there today.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah. Here's another call on the 1010XL hotline, driven by Key Buick GMC, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty.
Welcome back into Helmets and Heels. We are going to jump right into the NFL draft and some Jaguars talk now. Joined by Justin Mello. He covers the NFL draft for SI. So, Justin, thanks for hopping on and sharing your time a little bit today.
Yeah, pleasure's all mine. We're in the thick of the NFL draft calendar, so it's full steam ahead here.
It is. I know you guys stay busy this time of year, so we appreciate it. Let's start right away with some of the comments recently from James Gladstone, and he spoke on the importance for them this year, especially with those comp picks compared to free agency for him. They only made the one move in Chris Rodriguez in free agency, and I guess bringing back a couple guys in a Buster Brown and a Dennis Gardeck, but no first-round pick that the Jaguars have this season, but they do have 11 total picks, 5 of which are in the top 124. So thoughts on that approach and leaning into those comp picks and this year's draft and building for the future?
They're going to have to utilize those mid-round selections, right? Anytime you trade away a future first-round pick like they did last year to go get Travis Hunter, it really just adds a necessity to make sure you hit on those mid-rounders. You know, your second, your third-rounders, like you said, no first-round pick, but 5 selections in the top 124, you could still do a lot of damage, you know, if you do it correctly. It's just a matter of you've eliminated your margin for error a little bit, right, when you don't have that first rounder under your belt. So for me, it's all about good scouting. And we know, he comes from a place with the Los Angeles Rams that routinely did a great job of that. You know, you look at the way they rebuilt that defensive line after Aaron Donald's retirement. Most of them weren't first-round picks. Right, it was guys like Braden Fisk and Kobe Hunter and things of that nature. So, really, just comes down to their ability to hit on those picks, and I think you'll be pleased to have 5 in the top 125.
Justin, when I tell you it's 36 days until the NFL draft, how does that make you feel?
You know what? I'm looking forward to it. Right, we've been very busy. I'm very blessed. We do the NFL draft interview series. I'm sitting down with 2, 3, 4 prospects a day. I've had some really good ones. I'm waiting on Washington running back Jonah Coleman to give me a call now. to go through his pre-draft story. I talked to Eli Stowers earlier this afternoon after his, setting the NFL record at the Combine for the vertical and broad among tight ends. I spoke with Traden Stukes, the Arizona corner, this morning. We're, again, really, really busy publishing all of these exclusive interviews on NFL Draft on SI Sports Illustrated channel. So mock drafts, prospect rankings, big boards, you name it, we've got you covered over there. So it's certainly hectic in my part of the world, but I wouldn't change it if I could.
That's awesome. I feel like certain teams' brass that didn't go to the Combine might be perusing those.
Yeah, we might need those. Justin,
absolutely.
Justin, when you talk about, there's a few names that you have sent over to me that have been linked to the Jaguars, and one of those being Memphis offensive tackle Travis Burke, another one defensive lineman Landon Robinson out of Navy. Share a little bit on those two from what you know.
Yeah, Landon Robinson, really nice season at Navy this past year. What's interesting about him is he arrived there at the program as a 220-pound linebacker and just totally transformed his body, became a 285-pound defensive lineman.
Wow.
14 and a half sacks over these past 3 seasons, lots of tackle for loss production, still a bit undersized, but he's got first step, good initial quickness, understands how to knife into the backfield, and uses his athletic tools to his disposal. Travis Burke, the Memphis offensive tackle, is a really, really big tackle. And when I say really big, he's 6'9". Now, sometimes that can be a bit of a negative. You play a little upright, you lose the leverage battle. He's a day 3 developmental tackle. He was at the NFL Combine. He got invited there. I think started 12 games this past year it was for Memphis at right tackle. Some good things on tape. They ran the football well. I think there are some really intriguing traits to work with. He's a busy guy. He's got a ton of top 30 visits. A ton of teams have scheduled to meet with him before and after the pro day. There's a lot going on in Travis Burke's world right now, but the Jags are among the teams showing interest.
Chatting with Justin Mello of SI, covering all things NFL draft. So, Justin, the Jaguars pick with the 56th pick there in the second round, and then picks 81, 88, and 100 there in the third round. Based off of what you know as far as the holes that they may have, especially that off-ball linebacker right now, which way would you go with those? Maybe defensive tackle as well.
Yeah, I think the linebacker is probably a big one. Losing Devin Lloyd, not really doing anything to replace him. I think that first pick for them is a good spot to address it. And I think there'll be a couple of guys there. Anthony Hill, Jr. out of Texas, is really athletic, really long, sideline to sideline range. I think a guy they're really going to like because they need someone to play right away is Texas Tech's Jacob Rodriguez. He's been really productive. A bunch of 100 tackle seasons under his belt there in college. And he plays downhill, violent intentions and very aggressive when attacking into the backfield. I think those guys make a lot of sense. If they want to address it with one of those, picks in the 80s, I really like Kyle Lewis out of Pittsburgh, a little undersized, but was really good at the Senior Bowl, flying around and can play in coverage as well, which I think is a nice specialized trait that teams always appreciate in a linebacker. Defensive tackle is another one that strikes me for sure. They're in the early 50s. If that's the route that they want to go, I look at someone like Grayson Halton out of Oklahoma, who was, again, outstanding at the Senior Bowl, ran a really fast 40 at the Combine. It was, I think, a 4.83, for a guy that's almost 300 pounds. He's very impressive with a nice pass rushing repertoire. And Christian Miller out of Georgia, I think, might be the one that they would earmark if they go D-tackle in the 50s. An ascending prospect, you know how it is at Georgia. You don't really get on the field right away. He was playing behind some good football players early on in his career. But when his number finally got called, I think he made the most of his opportunity this past season. And he just looks the part. Like when you watch him on tape, pro-ready frame, pro-ready skill set, 300 pounds. He's thick, he's big, he's long. Just looks like a guy who's not going to get overwhelmed once he gets to the next level. So I think they'll have really good options. And D-tackle's deep. You can get one in the 80s, too. If they want a big run stopper, Dominique Orange out of Iowa State might have the best nickname in this class. He's Big Citrus. I don't know that it gets any better than that.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll have their options. I think both at D-tackle and linebacker. Good for them that it's a deep class, especially I think once you get to that 70 to 100 range. Darrell Jackson Jr., who they'll know well, the D-tackle out of Florida State, who was really, bit of a local connection there, was really good at the Shrine Bowl. and then got called up to the Senior Bowl on a whim. Was great at both pre-draft events. So I think Jacksonville will have plenty of, second and third round options there at D tackle and even cornerback as well, but D tackle and linebacker specifically.
Justin, I know you have an interview coming up, so final one before we let you go. If I remember correctly, last year you were a pretty big fan of Bashal Tutin, who the Jaguars ended up snagging in the draft last year. ETN gone now. They bring in Chris Rodriguez, who spent time with Liam Cohen at Kentucky. And then, of course, LaQuint Allen, who they got last year, too. So thoughts on that running back room and what Tutin could potentially be in this offense coming up?
Good memory on you. I definitely liked Tutin last year. I was a big fan. Seems like he's going to have an opportunity this year, right? Again, they haven't done a whole lot in free agency. I think Chris Rodriguez, everyone knows, is nothing more than a rotational player. He'll have his opportunities to carry the ball, and he'll be reliable if the young guys aren't. But I would imagine they're going to give those young guys every opportunity. You go into training camp, I think the competition's wide open. Wouldn't shock me. I mean, it probably is going to be a 2 to 3 man rotation all year long. Of course, the NFL draft is another opportunity for them to add another back if they'd like. And again, all those top 100 and top 125 picks, there will be some good players taken in that range. Washington's Jonah Coleman, Wake Forest's Damon Claiborne, ton of guys. I don't know. Arkansas's Mike Washington, you probably got to take him in with the first pick if you want him. But they'll have options. But I think you go into camp, it's wide open. You give these guys opportunities to show who's the hot hand, who's the most reliable. I think Tutin's got, some breathtaking speed. I really like what he can do as a game breaker, just bust it wide open for you with an explosive ability, essentially. He's got great foot quickness, one-cut type of back. He can plant his foot, change direction, and he's gone. So I think Tutin certainly has got the most upside, and I think he'll go into camp as the favorite to claim the lead job. But I think they also made sure that they had a safe, reliable backup plan by adding a guy like Chris Rodriguez.
That's Justin Mello. You'll find him at JustinM_NFL and his work on the NFL draft on SI.com. Justin, thanks for hopping on and appreciate your time. I know you're busy and enjoy the next month.
Pleasure's all mine. You know where to find me.
And there he goes as he's about to talk to, running back Jonah Coleman.
Yeah.
Get more information on him. And look, I saw earlier the Bucky Brooks top 5 running backs. He was certainly in that as far as the former Washington running back. All right, we have a development when it comes to college basketball. Siena is leading Duke 26-16. Yeah, they are up by 6 right now, which impressive work there by Siena. About 10 minutes left to go in the first half. Obviously, everyone knows Duke has had some injury issues with Caleb Foster and his foot. Not sure when he's going to return, if he's going to be able to return. And then also one of their players, Patrick Gungba, is not able to play as well. And so people were waiting to find out on that injury. So yeah, interesting stuff there that Duke's going to have to overcome. But first, they got to overcome Siena.
They are got to start there.
They are down by 10, like I said, right now.
Yeah, that would bust quite a few brackets, I would believe, if they end up falling to that. The Louisville USF right now, 72-61. Louisville, one of the things, Lauren, that kind of stuck out, he was talking about Big Citrus.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that's, Dominique Orange is his name out of Iowa State, and I have defensive tackle up there. But I was like, how fitting for the Florida, Orange being the state fruit and the Sunshine State, and having a guy whose nickname is Big Citrus.
Yeah, I think that would be awesome. And I feel like at the same time, too, he's huge.
Yeah.
Like that's exactly what this team needs.
Yeah. And that's going to be one of the biggest conversations leading into the draft is, I think defensively anyways, I think most people are pretty solid. I think maybe addressing the offensive line for a lot of people, but defensive tackle and linebacker are going to be 2 of the biggest conversations heading into the draft for the Jags.
Yeah. I think the question for him is how can he get to the quarterback at 6'2", or how quickly at 6'2", 325 pounds? Like, this team is really good against the run, right? And so Devon Hamilton, you trust in him. At Dickerson, really good against the run as well. Eric Armstead, when he was out there, also good against the run. But they need a defensive tackle that also can get to the quarterback. And so that'll obviously be taken into consideration when it comes to this NFL draft. But good stuff there by Justin Mello. And I can only imagine.
My head would be spinning.
With 5 weeks left to go, all the work that they put in. But that's what's awesome about the NFL draft when it comes to people like that cover it, is it's about, in addition to, it's about the combine and all the measurements and everything you did in college, the production on the film. but they also are getting to know the human.
Yeah.
And I feel like for those of us, like I am someone who loves the Players Tribune. I remember before Laviska Shenault was drafted a few years ago, I wanted the Jaguars to draft him just because I read the Players Tribune article that he wrote and how much he loves football and why he loves football. And I was telling you, AJ Green penned a really tearful, but also a really good article about Rondell Moore and how close that they were before Rondell recently died. And like AJ Green just goes through everything as far as their relationship and how close they were and different stories about Rondell and the 2 injuries that he went through, how much that affected him. And he was still checking in with him and felt like he was in a pretty good place. Rondell thought about becoming an assistant coach. I think it was at Oregon State. And AJ Green told him, yes, I think that's what you should do. You know, not focus on the NFL. But in the end, he had decided to focus on the NFL. And then, unfortunately, a few weeks ago, we found out that he had tragically killed himself. And so AJ Green also really pushes that the NFL needs to do more when it comes to mental health. And it's something that we talk about whenever we see stories like that, but that if once a player gets injured, they really need to be surrounded by some mental health counseling. And the other really interesting thing that he said, and it has to do with kind of the draft too, is that there's such a stigma when it comes to mental health. So the moment that a general manager or some scouts find out that a player might be dealing with that, they almost want to keep that player at an arm's length because they're afraid of what issues may come down the road. And it shouldn't be like that. You shouldn't be afraid to take a player that has dealt with that. You just need to be able to find the right people to put in their life, the right counseling in order to make sure that they can be the best human that they can be and have the best mental health that they can have.
Yeah. And I hope we're seeing that change with, men and women becoming more vocal about the mental health awareness and things like that. Because the problem is then you end up having players who hide it, and then hiding it's even worse for themselves, number one, but then number two, you're still potentially getting a player who struggles with these things. They're just not comfortable enough to tell you about it, and that's even a bigger problem than being able to feel like you have an organization where players are comfortable coming and saying, like, something doesn't feel right, I need somebody to talk to, whatever the case may be. So I do hope, because we live in this world that is so much more open about mental health and making sure that you really focus on some of those things. I was sharing with you yesterday, Caleb Williams is very active in that. He has this Caleb Cares Foundation, and it's all about mental health awareness. And he's posted a lot too about the NFL needing to check on their players. And even this, you talk about AJ Green, and sometimes you feel like they are okay and they seem like they are. And it's just having somebody, you can't say, hey, are you good? And then not check on them for months at a time. Sometimes you have to have conversations daily. And I do think we live in this world now where that's more accepted. And I do think that's positive. So I hope the conversations shift from like, oh, we have to keep this guy away because he struggles in these areas to, hey, we're a team that accepts this, and we'll talk to you and we'll do what we can to be here for you. Because a lot of the times too, football is what helps these guys survive too. And I know other people, like for me, that was music for a long time, in the sense of hard times in my life. Music's helped me get through a lot of things. So having your thing is important. And if you can't have that thing, then it affects you even more.
And knowing what to do when you are depressed, right? Like, and I'm not going to sit here and be able to tell other people what they should do when dark times come, but that's where the NFL can step in. And when you get to that point where your mood is not where it has been, and you're feeling low or feeling depressed, like, have the resources available right then and there for the person. But yeah, AJ Green did a fabulous job. I highly recommend reading it, but make sure you have some tissues nearby when you go to read it. All right, the golden moment awaits. Keep it right here. Helmets and Heels, 1010X on 2.5 FM.
Launch the downloads. Join the 1010XL Podcast Network.
And initiate sequence.
Now you can find all your favorite 1010XL podcasts in your platform of choice. Now, another March update, delivered by Fleming Island Center for Clinical Research. The future of medicine starts here.
With your March update, I'm Sam Nelson. South Florida has a steep hill to climb as Louisville controls that matchup, while TCU edged Ohio State in a nail-biter. Nebraska made quick work of Troy, and High Point is still keeping things interesting against Wisconsin. Siena isn't backing down as they face powerhouse Duke, and Vanderbilt at McNeese State got underway this hour. That's your March update on 1010XL.
Spring cleaning is good and all, but there's something even better than that. Spring cleaning and spring organizing. Lauren Brooks here, and I just love our organized closets from Closets by Design. They create custom storage systems designed around how you actually live, from closets and garages to entertainment centers, laundry rooms, and storage for every space and budget. Make an appointment today to tour their gorgeous showroom on Phillips Highway and get 40% off, plus an extra 15% off, free installation, and 18-month special financing. Schedule your free consultation at 904-878-9393 or find them online, closetsbydesign.com.
Hey, Jacksonville, I'm sure by now you've seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We are an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We are committed to customer service, reliability, and have unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. GFL, green for life.
Hi, I'm Sean Monahan from Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach. Since 1977, we've been Jacksonville's local family jeweler with a beautiful selection of fine jewelry and certified diamonds. But we're also Jacksonville's leading buyer of gold, silver, and diamonds from the public. Gold has recently hit an all-time high at over $5,000 per ounce, and silver is over $100 per ounce. Pay bills, buy something fun. Now is the time to sell your gold and silver for cash and get top dollar, or trade it in for a new piece and get even more at Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach.
The Golf Club of Southampton is gearing up for brand new greens and a lot more, and now's your chance to save on membership before the fee increase. Take advantage of a $1,000 savings if you join before the work starts in late April and before the initiation fee goes up. It's a great deal, plus $500 additionally in Pro Shop credit. Don't miss out. All the details are at golfsouthampton.com. Become a member now and save big. The course is in great shape, so head on out to the Golf Club of Southampton. Call 287-PLAY and get on the tee.
The Brown Family YMCA in Ponte Vedra Beach is better than ever. Come experience our new renovated spaces, including an expanded wellness center with upgraded state-of-the-art equipment, recovery solutions, brand new locker rooms, and the Horsell Center for Health and Well-Being, all designed to help you feel your best. And now you can join with no joining fee. Plus, enjoy your 4th month free. There's no place like this place. And you'll love what's new. Visit the Brown Family YMCA in Ponte Vedra Beach.
For the ultimate and unique gift ideas, visit CuneFlowers.com. RJ Saunders here, and no matter what the reason, Cune Flowers has it all. Sending flowers was never so easy, either online, on the phone, or in their super cool showroom. Cune Flowers converts the extra point every time.
XL Primetime and Bud Light are ready to cut down the nets. Well, not just yet. The tournament's just started, but you can down some cold Bud Lights and watch the NCAA tournament with XL Primetime Friday at Monkey's Uncle at the beach. Be there with XLP and Bud Light.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch. Now, the Monahan's golden moment. Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach, your local family jewelers.
Before I get to a little note that I read earlier on De'Ami Brown and some comments he made about the Jags, we have some madness going on for sure through this point in time. Siena right now up 35-24 on Duke, while McNeese is up 19-12 on Vandy. Very early for that game, but still,
go
some
Siena,
things.
go McNeese State.
So I'm here for the madness. Even if I wouldn't mind my bracket getting busted if it's for some upsets, so I can see some chaotic things happening. But what I mentioned a second ago, so De'Ami Brown spoke and he was talking about his time in Jacksonville. Obviously, only this 1 year. When it comes to the box score and production out of De'Ami, not what a lot of people what you would like to see. You paid him, 1 year, $10 million to come in, and he wasn't virtually used at a certain point in time.
Yeah, he was a healthy scratch there late, which I know we sat here and told you almost every host that went to training camp, especially early on, was like, watch out for De'Ami Brown. The connection he has with Trevor Lawrence is going to be unbelievable. He's got all that speed. I know for a fact that the Jaguars brass was super high on De'Ami, hence the 1 year, $10 million. They thought that would turn into a long-term contract. Obviously, that didn't work out because he had only 20 catches for 227 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah, I was a little concerned from the beginning, just because I was like, it was a few games that he had that was really good, and virtually the only other receiver they had in Washington was when you talk about Scary Terry, and so he should have had more opportunity. So I was a little hesitant, and then I do remember in camp, and I didn't go every single day, but the first few days I went, I remember being like, who is Brown? And I remember and then we came back and I told you the story. I was like, it took me a good 5 minutes to even remember who Brown was. And I was like, oh, but so I wasn't seeing that from camp. And I'm guessing I was missing the days that it was happening. And then, but everybody else was talking about it. So I was like, maybe I'm wrong and I hope I'm wrong, but it didn't pan out. But he's somebody that I think he has the ability when it comes to speed. And you saw certain moments, obviously, in camp and in the playoffs with the Commanders, that there's something there. Yeah. But you just have to have the right things to pull that out. But anyway, so he was quoted, and they were talking about how they asked him how he felt like he's grown over the last 12 months. And he said, really, just mentally, I understand the game a little bit more than what I have in the past. I took the steps to learn from other people like Jacoby Myers, Brian Thomas Jr. out there. I had some people that helped me around, even the quarterback, talking about Trevor, obviously, just learning from him that took the game into another level and different viewpoint from me. So I like that because
I hope you said Trevor's name, by the way, and more than just the
quarterback. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think stuff like that, that's what you want to hear when people are no longer, because in the past, it hasn't been like that. In the past, people have left Jacksonville and been like, thank goodness I'm not in Jacksonville anymore. You know, you need to get away, whether it's from the culture or the coaching staff, and not specifically saying this coach sucked, but it always kind of had, not always, it's been times where it's kind of felt like players were happy to get away from here. And I don't think that, I think now you live in this world where people obviously respect Liam Cohen a lot and his coaching ability. And then the weapons around Jacoby Myers, that's something we've heard a ton when he came to Jacksonville. Everybody with the Raiders were like, you're getting a really good football player who puts in a lot of work and is willing to help other guys on the team. And that's the type of players you want. We've always known Trevor's that type of guy. He's one of the best humans that you could talk about in the NFL. He's always been that since he came here to Jacksonville to start, and then back in his Clemson days, that's just kind of like what surrounds Trevor Lawrence. And so, but it's nice to have people leave and not be like, that was, and it didn't end well. It didn't go well for him. So he could have easily been like, that wasn't the right spot for me. It didn't work out. They didn't use me right. I wasn't utilized in the right way. He didn't. He said, mentally he learned, and maybe mentally he learned that putting in certain work and the mental side of football is important too. Yes, you can run fast and you can catch the ball, but there's other aspects to it. So I'm sure in that sense he's learned, but also just it's comforting knowing that you have a team now that is, people are talking about in a positive light of what they're learning from these players and from the coaches.
Yeah, I think the wide receiving room last year was interesting in the sense that Diami, now that I think about it, was kind of the veteran before Jacoby Myers was brought to Jacksonville in that trade. And so I don't know that Diami was necessarily ready to be the veteran or the leader of that group. And look, at the end of the day, Jacoby Myers drastically changed this team. He changed the way that the receivers prepared potentially. He changed the way that they caught the ball. Yeah. Whatever he did, whatever he brought, whatever elixir he brought to Everbank Stadium and the Miller Electric Center. It felt like it added comfort
to Trevor out there. He had a guy that he could rely on. And when you have a guy that is going to catch the ball every time you throw it to him, and there was a moment or two that maybe we were like, oh, Jacoby dropped that. But he has some of the best hands in the NFL, and that's what we talked about a lot when he came. And having that guy that you can trust to catch the ball every time you throw it to him is important for the quarterback, and it does help them relax a little bit at times,
especially when one of Trevor's security blankets and Brenton Strange went down, with the injury, and he missed, I think it was 5 games, obviously put on IR. Christian Kirk, when he was brought to Jacksonville, he was a guy that I remember being so excited because he had learned from Larry Fitzgerald. And so when they decided to move on from Christian Kirk, I think the question then became, who's going to be that in this wide receiving core? And I don't know that they really had that person until they brought Jacoby in. And so I think that was a really savvy move that James Gladstone made. But yeah, now they all have to step up, right? Like, you can't have the drops and the pre-snap penalties that you had to begin last season. You got to be all in, and you got to be on top of everything earlier, because you aren't going to have the same type of schedule. You have only 6 true home games this upcoming season, so you don't have the wiggle room maybe that you had last year.
Yeah, and a more difficult schedule. For ideally, sure. I mean, we never know. We've talked about that preseason, the schedule, strength of schedule, and how much it actually looks at this point in time. You don't know, but ideally, you made it into the postseason, so you have a little bit more difficult of a schedule. Usually, that's a 3 4-game difference that you're talking about. The AFC South, I feel like there's a lot of questions there of what that looks like. And it was this last year too. In Houston, it looks like they already won a lot of football games. They won 12 games, won a playoff game, and it seems like they've gotten better as long as C.J. Stroud and they can figure out how to protect him a little bit. I think the other two teams, there's the Titans, I think they're a little bit away. The Colts, I guess it depends. Does Daniel Jones come out like he did at the beginning of last season? How healthy is he? What's going on with some of those things? They paid a lot of money to Alec Pierce to make sure he's back, because clearly that was important to them to have that. We talk about Jacoby Myers and the importance of him on this offense. That's been Alec Pierce and Indy. So the division feels like, you outside of the Texans, that you have a pretty clear path, but it's not going to be easy and you're away a lot. And so there are some things that you have to evaluate there. But we've also talked about how important it is that these guys now are going to have this full offseason together. Also, when you talk about it, Jacoby came in here mid-season and caught on, and like that, you felt like he had been on the team for years. And so now you have this whole offseason with that, in addition to how they played down that stretch of last year. So you have to have some hope there that just continues to grow also.
It's interesting now, Christian Kirk with the 49ers and how loaded that wide receiving room is. To your point about the first place schedule, because the Jags won the division, it is interesting because a lot of the teams that won the division this year weren't teams that you would have expected.
Yeah.
Like the Chiefs didn't win the AFC West, and the Bills didn't win the AFC East, and the Ravens didn't win the AFC North. And so those are all teams that the second place Texans, end up getting, and the Jags get those teams that won in first place. All right, Pest of the Day on the other side, and we'll keep you updated with some hoops action. It's 1010XL 92.5 FM.
For the greenest, luscious lawn on the block, choose the local legends, Roundtree Sod. Don't just settle for ordinary. Let Roundtree Sod deliver you a picture-perfect lawn. To get a free estimate, call 7414-SOD. 7414-SOD.
You've probably heard the saying, it's not how hard you get hit, it's whether or not you get back up. Well, I'm attorney Brett Hastings, and I have a saying of my own. If you get hit with a personal injury or wrongful death, hit back and fight to make them pay. At Hastings Injury Law, we have the experience you want if you or a loved one suffer a car or trucking accident or wrongful death. Just call 904-HIT-BACK and we'll help you get up and hit back. Office is Jacksonville.
Frank Frangie here, and Big Chief Tire makes it easier than ever to get the tires you need with the Big Chief credit card. No annual fee, low monthly payments, and great promotional financing. Plus, you get free flat repairs and rotations, and right now, $50 off your first purchase when you sign up. I love how simple they make everything. Visit WeKeepJacksRollin.com to apply for the credit card and get the tires you need today. That's Big Chief Tire.
We know the madness is here, and there's no better place to watch than Fourscore Golf Tavern. Catch every buzzer beater on our huge screens while enjoying happy hour drink specials and our legendary watch party atmosphere. Want to make it even more fun? Rent a bay and bring your group for a watch party on your own private big screen. Grab your crew, grab a drink, and experience the real madness the Fourscore way. Fourscore Golf Tavern, where the tournament and the good times never stop.
I'm here with Clayton Bromberg of Underwoods. What is a gemologist?
Frank, that's a good question, because gemologist is a generic title that can be used by anyone, whether they have any gemological training or not. There's also a graduate gemologist, which is somebody that's taken the gemology courses of the Gemological Institute of America and received a diploma. Then there's a certified gemologist of the American Gem Society. They've received the graduate gemologist diploma, have worked in the jewelry business for a minimum of 3 years, and are tested by examination once a year to re-win the certified gemologist title. There's one other aspect that certified gemologists have that others might or might not have, and that's the accredited gemological equipment to be able to make the right grading calls on diamonds and other gemstones. At Underwoods, we have an American Gem Society accredited gem laboratory that our certified gemologists work in, assuring you the quality and value you deserve.
That's Underwoods, Florida's longest-standing member of the American Gem Society. In San Marco, Avondale, the Shops of Ponte Vedra, Underwood Jewelers.
Did you know that an annual coating inspection can extend the life of your building by years? Catching early signs like hairline cracks, fading, and moisture intrusion helps prevent costly repairs down the road and keeps your property looking its best. Our team at Performance Painting helps you stay ahead of maintenance with professional inspections and long-lasting coating solutions. Protect your building, protect your budget. Go to performance-painting.com to schedule a free inspection. Performance Painting, repair, protect, preserve.
Performance Painting.
Hey, life can get a little hectic at times, and no one has time to get hurt, lost wages, injuries that not only hurt, but ones that hinder our success. If you're in this position due to the negligence of another, you deserve to be paid. What's up, Jayville? This is Tom McManus. Injuries suck, and if you get injured, check out Morgan & Morgan, the largest personal injury law firm in the country. 100 offices, over 1,000 lawyers, with enough firepower to handle any and all personal injury cases that you may be dealing with. And they make filing a claim easy and don't get paid unless you do. Morgan & Morgan, for the people. Visit forthepeople.com or hit pound law from your cell. Pound law, that's all.
Your AC's broke, it ain't no joke. Call Florida Home AC. Florida Home AC. Florida Home AC. Florida Home AC. FloridaHomeAC.com.
Don't pick a Cinderella for your backyard. Choose the top seed, Superior Fence and Rail, the best in town, with one-day installations and a labor warranty that never quits. And through the end of March, they're going hard to the paint with a 5% discount. That's a slam dunk value of up to $500. Upgrade your home with a deal that's nothing but net. Call today or visit SuperiorFenceRail.com.
SuperiorFenceandRail.com. 1010XL, presented by Farrah and Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farrah doesn't flinch.
Taylor Dahl, RJ Saunders. I'm Lauren Brooks with you. Tom McManus on vacation. He'll be back next week after he enjoys some time in the Caribbean. We have some really tight games going on right now. You've got High Point leading Wisconsin, so the 12 over the 5, with 11 seconds left to play in that one. South Florida has made a little bit of a comeback, only down by 5 now to Louisville with 24 seconds left to play in that one. Louisville up 79-74. You've got Siena still leading Duke. That one about to be at the half, 43-32. And then McNeese State still leading Vanderbilt up by 6, 26-20 with about 6 minutes left to play in that one. So some really good hoops action going on right now.
There is. That's every time you look up. This is the best thing. The best thing about this time of year is it's just number one, constant. I feel like other times, sometimes even during the NFL season, if someone goes on break, like you'll try to skip to go over to another game, and like everybody's on commercial break. There's always a game on that you can look up. And right now you're looking up at a now 6-point. Louisville's up 80-74 with 15.7 left, and then a 1-point game on the other side. So this is why they call it March Madness.
Heck yeah, we love it, all of it. All right, time now for the pest of the day. As always, brought to you by our friends at Terminix. You can find them online, Terminix.com. That's TERMINIX.com. It is termite season, so make sure you have Terminix come out and Terminix those termites. They do a great job taking care of any issues that we have at our house, Everbank Stadium, ViStar Ballpark, ViStar Veterans Memorial Arena, and all of your favorite event venues around town. Well, earlier today we found out that Knowles place kicker Connor McAnamy was suspended indefinitely from all team activities. He was arrested yesterday in Fort Lauderdale on multiple felony charges that occurred allegedly during his arrest. So there's that one. And then also Braves outfielder Yerkson Profar will miss the entire season after his appeal of a positive test for PEDs was resolved. He will forfeit his entire $15 million salary for 2026. So yeah, for the Knowles fans, you're going to lose your place kicker, and Braves are going to lose their outfielder. It's tough going these days.
Yeah, sounded like Rick Ballou said when people get arrested, they're good. So
I feel like that's more position.
Well, Miami
players.
says it too.
That's true. Not your place kicker. I feel like something's gone wrong if your place kicker is getting arrested at this point in time. All right, let's head out to Lola's Burrito and Burger Joint.
Now, the 2-minute drill is driven by nobody but Nimnicht. Nimnicht Chevrolet on Cassett Avenue and Nimnicht Buick GMC on Phillips Highway.
All right, gentlemen, the March Madness is underway. Is Siena going to beat Duke?
Boy, it is unbelievable. 43-32 at the half would be the biggest upset in tournament history, Duke being the number 1 overall seed. So doubt it holds, but what an incredible first 20 minutes for Siena. And wake-up call for Todd Golden. This will be easy to light a fire under his guys for tomorrow night's opening game for the Gators. But yeah, we're delighted to be out here at Lola's. Great place, great vibe. Come join us out here. Fantastic burgers and burritos, and they've got a great happy hour 2 to 7, half price on all 10 signature margaritas. So we're thrilled to be out here. Lee Smith is going to join us, the executive director of the Players Championship. So lots coming up as we'll break down today's action, and we'll talk a little NFL, Gators football, and certainly keep everybody abreast of what's going on in the tournament. But wild start, and boy, if Siena can hold this, I mean, they can get outscored by 10 in the second half and still win this game. So, again, will it happen? Probably not, but I can dare to dream.
That you can.
Hayes, are you getting a burrito or a burger?
I'm going to go burrito. I'm going to get the Chewy's Chimmy.
Ooh.
So I am really looking forward to it. Yeah.
All right. Sounds good. Well, we shall be listening. Thanks so much, Hayes.
All right. Thank you.
And by the way, High Point, that game is final. High Point beats Wisconsin 83-82. So we have our first 12 over a 5. And I did not pick that one correctly.
I did not. Tommy did. He has High Point winning this and the next game, I think he had on his bracket.
Well, I will refrain from saying why I think he picked High Point, but like I said, I did not.
One of the words.
So there you have it. Louisville, by the way, now up 83-79 on South Florida. There's 5.2 seconds left to play in that one. And McNeese State still does lead. It's just a 3-point lead over Vanderbilt. So again, go McNeese State. There's about 5 minutes left to play in the first half. All right, tomorrow, Taylor Dahl, we are going to be at Big Dogs.
We are.
Looking
Big
forward
Dog,
to it.
Out on Blanding. If you have not been, I tell people we've been there multiple times now at this point, including I think the last 2 March Madnesses.
I think so.
We've been out there. But they're so much fun. I do, they kind of promote the fact that they're family-friendly sports bar, so they'll have all the TVs and you could do all of that. But feel free to bring the kids out and hang out. I know a lot of kids are on spring break right now, so kind of perfect timing. But I tell people since we've been now twice that they are my favorite wings in Jacksonville. And so come out and get some chicken wings and hang out with us a little bit. Pat Young will be with us too. So
That's right.
the second hour, he'll be hanging out with us to talk some basketball.
Yeah, he's going to make the trek to come hang out with us. So do that. Go hang out with the Frangie Show at Lula's Burrito and Burger Joint right now from 4 to 6. And then Baloo and Hacker at Mr. Chubby's in Ponte Vedra tonight. And then tomorrow, primetime at Monkey's Uncle in Jack's Beach. We are at Big Dogs from 2 to 4. The Frangie Show will be at 4 Score Golf from 4 to 6, and then Baloo and Hacker at Top Dog Tavern. So we got you covered. If you want to watch hoops anywhere really in town, there's going to be
all around.
There's going to be a 1010XL show near you. All right, that'll do it for us today. Again, we are at Big Dogs. Come hang out with us tomorrow. For the vacationing Tom McManus, for Taylor Dahl, RJ Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks. These heels are made for talking. We will talk to you tomorrow, but don't go anywhere. The Frangie Show is next.
The Gators, the Knowles, the Dogs, and the Canes. College football starts and ends here. 1010XL.
Yep. So, yeah, now